we wanted love from everybody else that we didn't even give love to ourselves. You're close to 30 and now you need to do more for yourself. Why settle in the bare minimum and feel like you can't speak? Hey nosy, welcome back to my channel. If you're not new, Jesus, tongue tied. If you're new, welcome. Here we talk about things, just hot topics. And today we're going to dedicate a video to the oldest kids, even the oldest daughters, the oldest sons. You're just the oldest of somewhere in your family. And the crazy responsibility and the weight that we put on ourselves from being the oldest. I know, because I am one of the oldest. I am the oldest of just me and my brother. And baby, the amount of pressure I put on myself is ridiculous. And I think it's time to talk about how we deserve more in life. So let's talk about it. It's just a topic that's been kind of on my mind that I just feel like as the oldest siblings, even as the oldest daughters, we deserve more. We deserve more in a lot of our life because we were already born into the world with this ideology that somewhere, somehow, even if our parents didn't put it on us, that we felt like we were responsible for anyone. Responsible for our parents, responsible for our siblings, ourselves, and for others. And I feel like that's something that I'm slowly trying to break out of now in adulthood. And I realize that I've been putting in a lot more effort in others and not putting anything into myself. And I think it's just mainly because my whole life it was the idea of showcase yourself so others can follow in your footsteps, but no one tells you to just do it for yourself. I think that's what I was missing my whole childhood, was just doing it for myself, only for myself. Forget everybody else. They're not your responsibility. They're not your responsibility. I don't know who needs to hear that, but like, your siblings are not your responsibility. No one but yourself is your responsibility. So it's kind of like one of those things, like, how do I break out of it when I've been doing it for 27 years of my life? And I'm realizing that it's starting to drag into other aspects of my life as well. And I feel like the biggest part of me, I wish I can go back and tell my younger self, like, to speak more. You see, I feel like a lot of us at a very young age were brought up in this idea of you have to carry yourself for others to see you, for others to do as good as you. And when it comes to that, there's little to no complaining. We can't complain because if people hear us complain, then it kind of weakens us. It kind of makes it seem like we're not the number one. We're not the trophy kid, you know? And when it comes to that, I realized that a lot of the aggression, a lot of the anger that I held on to as a child was because I felt like I didn't have the place to complain. Like, I didn't have the right to complain because it was kind of like, I can't complain. I'm doing good. I'm getting A's. I'm doing wonderful. Like, everyone loves me. Everybody wants to excel like me. But like, I'm going through it. And I felt like a lot of the anger that I held on to was mostly because I just did not speak up for myself. And even though I was an excellent child, I feel like the things like the bullying and friends turning on you and the nitpicking and then the like feeling overworked, I didn't have a way to express that. And instead of me expressing to my peers or to my family, like, hey, I think I might be burnt out, or hey, I'm doing all these extracurricular activities to please this part of my life, or to please you, or to please, others, because I like the affirmation, I like the acknowledgement. It was kind of like I overexerted myself because I was trying to put myself in a predicament where it was like I had no place to complain about it. And you don't realize that not being able to express yourself goes into other parts of your life. especially for me, like it made me realize finally that because I don't know how to express myself or don't feel okay with complaining, I didn't do it in my relationships. I act complacent. I acted very like I was settling with the actions of my significant others. And I always wish I was that type of person. You know, those type of people who just straight up don't put up BS. Like they're very like, that's below minimum. This is what I need. This is what I want. I'm starting to try to get into that pocket. And I know some people feel like it's very controversial. Some people is like, that's just nitpicky and y'all in this bare minimum is too much. But like, I kind of understand it. Because why settle in the bare minimum and feel like you can't speak? The whole tipping toeing around your significant other because you're just too scared to actually tell them how you feel, that comes from being the oldest and feeling like you have no right to complain. The whole trying to please everybody else and make sure that they're okay and excelling and giving everything to them and not putting it into yourself, that comes with the responsibility of being the oldest and making sure everybody is straight besides yourself. I feel like that's what a lot of older siblings feel like because we're so concerned about everybody else that we're not concerned about ourselves. So we always nitpick with ourselves like, I'll get it next time. I'll do it next time. I didn't get the birthday party that I wanted, but that's okay. You know, we can do your birthday trip. And it's like we always put ourselves on the dang back burner every single time. Every single time we put ourselves on the back burner and we put everybody else on the front. And it's like, why do we go through life and have all these wants and wishes and never give it to ourselves? And we even pull that in a lot of our relationships, not just like friendships, but also relationships. We always put our connections before our own wants and needs because that's how we carried ourselves through our whole lives. And it's like when it comes to friendships, you always make sure they have a bomb birthday party. You always make sure, you know, that they have a shoulder to lean on, that they have an ear to talk to, that they always have a supportive team. But then you end up making these friendships with people who don't really reciprocate enough to you. They're good friends, but like they don't go as hard as you do for them. And then you start to question yourself and like, are my friends even good friends? Are they even really that good? And then you kind of go into the spiral of like, nobody has you like you. But to be honest with you, like nobody can do the things that you do unless they've been in your shoes. But nobody also won't do the things you do if you do not advocate for yourself. And I think that's the biggest thing, that being an oldest sibling, a lot of us do not advocate for ourselves because we feel like that is complaining. We feel like that a lot of it is just us straight up complaining. And when we was growing up, it felt like we had no room to complain. When you feel like you don't have any room to complain, you're not going to complain. You're not, because you're supposed to be the creme de la creme, right? Do you ever hear Olympic winners complain? Do you ever hear, track stars complain? Do you ever hear CEOs complain? No, they just eat, devour, and do what they got to do. But nobody really realizes the person that they are beneath all that. And I think that's how a lot of oldest siblings feel. I think that's how I feel sometimes. And I think that's why now I'm like, forget all that. I'm trying to do what I got to do for me.
I got to put me first. I gotta put me first, Lucian.
I want to do the best that is for me. I deserve more than what I'm giving myself. And I think that's why I'm elevating and pushing myself to do that. And I kind of want others to do the same for themselves. I think it's time to take a bite out of the selfish sandwich. Just forget everybody else. And that's not saying that you're going to leave friends behind and just be rude and just be selfish to other people. Don't do that. Don't do that. Just, put a little more time in yourself. If you want that spa day, go do that spa day. If you want that, cute themed birthday party, throw it for yourself. What I'm saying is, if you want more, you got to do more. If you want more effort from others, you got to speak up about it. If you want to be that voice heard in a room, you got to put more affirmative action into it. If you feel like you deserve more than the bare minimum, advocate for yourself. You deserve more, you get more. And I think that's the thing that it took me so long to finally realize. I think when it comes to being one of the oldest too, I don't think our parents meant to mess us up. We're gonna be real here. Like, we was definitely the experiment kids. We was the first everything. It was just kind of like, let's try it, let's see what happens. Joke's on you. And I feel like a lot of times I don't think our parents meant for us to develop in these ways. I just think they wanted us to be well-rounded people. I think all of the praise and the clapping towards all the little actions we do was also the part of being excited as being first-time parents. But I do think it was also a push to help us excel in certain things. But then we started connecting these dots somewhere in our mental where it was like, if I do good for others and excel for others, then I do good for me. But then you connect this that you're doing everything for you, but you realize over time you're really not. You're doing it for everybody else, especially for everybody's approval. And I just want to see something with a raise of hands. As for my oldest kids, oldest siblings, how many of y'all first love language is words of affirmation? I feel like that is a universal trait among a lot of first kids. Or like, I really do think a lot of us is words of affirmations, because we're born out the womb. Everything is for us to excel, that we want to hear that. Good job. I'm so proud of you. Keep going. You're doing amazing. And then that's what we seek out for the rest of our lives, that we always want that approval. But you know what's crazy? We never approve of ourselves. We're always negative Nancy's on ourselves. We're always going in on ourselves. We're always like, we could do better. That was stupid. I should have did this. Oh my gosh. It's like, dang, we wanted love from everybody else that we didn't even give love to ourselves. That's crazy to think about. Crazy to think about. It's time, especially for me in this day and age of my life, it's time for me to put myself first and kind of put others second. And I think it's because I'm becoming into this I'm starting to settle into this different part of my life that's like, you're growing close to 30 and now you need to do more for yourself. And I wish that's something that I was able to do for myself, because I think the biggest part of being like the oldest kid, because we all know that a lot of times when you're the first child or the first daughter or the first son, you're kind of given this different level of achievements that you have to hit. And especially at a young age, everything's very centralized around your grades and your achievements, but no one prepares you for when you get out of that and you finally get out of the school world, what else is there to fulfill that? So then you feel empty and you're like, there's no goals and there's no achievements and there's no sports and there's no extracurricular activities to brag about. What the heck do I have for myself? And then you realize that the one thing you don't have for yourself is yourself. Everybody has their selves together, and to be able to back and defend themselves so well that you realize that you ain't got no backbone.
Y'all be weak in the knees. Stand up. Stand up.
And this might not go for everybody. It could just be me. It could just be a me thing, and no one else could possibly feel this way. But I know for me, that's something I realized, like, it's not the fact that I get walked over. It's the fact that I don't set my own boundaries for myself. And it's like, if I want to do this, then I need to push for that. If I want to be able to hear my voice in a meeting, I need to push myself to be more affirmative. If I want to be able to have better, minimums in datings, then I need to speak to my significant other and stop being a little scaredy cat. I just need to just talk about it and be firm in it. It's kind of like finding your voice where it's like, this is me and nothing else matters. But the only way you can give yourself more is by actually doing more for yourself. So my challenge to myself, and maybe even to you if you want to try it, is to push yourself to give yourself more. And the best part of giving yourself more is that there's usually no cap. You just keep pushing. You just keep pushing. You keep seeing how far you can go and get the things that you want. And then you'll be even surprised with yourself. And you're like, oh my gosh, this is everything I ever wanted. And then one day, it just happens. It just happens. And then you'll be surprised with yourself. So I just wonder if anybody else out there feels that way about the responsibilities or the weight that you have of being the oldest child. And if you do feel that way, if you do, totally let me know. Like, let's talk about it. This is an open space to just talk about anything, really. Like, I feel like we need more communities like that in a world where everything is so saturated with one-way opinions and trends. I feel like we all need to take time to find spaces where we can just speak and no one takes it the wrong way. And that's what this channel is for. So let's reflect, let's think, let's do more for ourselves and push that narrative for the rest of the year. We got 3 months. We got 3 months to do more for ourselves. And then we can reflect and report back to let us know how it went. I hope you guys have a good day. I hope you take time to breathe in the air. Breathe and peace out.